Hey everyone, so this will be one of the last updated and extended videos I'll do, as I've pretty much covered the majority of the ones I wanted to cover, and I feel like I've done them justice. Now, today I want to talk about that moment in Malfoy Manor between Draco and Harry. That moment where Draco knows it's Harry despite the hex to his face. In fact, he always knew it was Harry, but for some reason he hesitated and made excuses as to whether or not it was him. So in today's video, I'm going to analyse and explain what exactly may have been going on with Draco at that specific moment in time, why he didn't identify Harry there and then, and if there was more to the situation than we thought. With that being said, welcome back to the world of Harry Potter, and please enjoy today's video. Okay everyone, let's get started. Now, there are several factors surrounding Draco that led to him taking such a risk that night in his home. But we've got to track back to a little earlier. We've got to go a couple of years back. He didn't just sit there and think, you know what, Harry needs a break. I'll help him, so I'll pretend that I can't recognise him. No guys, it stems a lot deeper than that. It was building up within him. It's important to highlight certain factors from Draco's upbringing, which I believe plays a factor in what happened that night, in addition to the current atmosphere surrounding his family with the Dark Lord's return. Anyway, speaking of Draco, is there anyone who has talked the talk more than they have actually walked the walk? He's always loved running his mouth, making insults, threats, highlighting how some wizarding families are better than others and looking down on those he believed unworthy of magic. Here's the thing with Draco and his whole situation in Malfoy Manor. Draco has always wanted to be a Death Eater for as long as he could remember. He grew up on his father's stories about the declining state of the wizarding world. Thanks to Muggles and Muggle-born integration, the true wizarding families are holding on to their legacy by a string. He listened to tales of Lord Voldemort, the one person, the one man who took a stand, the man who wanted to restore the wizarding worlds to glory, and those brave enough to stand by him and help him make the change. Draco fully bought into this way of life. He was the mirror image of his father inside and out, a complete bigot. What Draco didn't know is that things were different during the First Wizarding War. Lucius was in such a more prominent position with the Dark Lord back then. He was also his second in command and always delivered. In addition to that, Voldemort had never known defeat either. There was no risk, in his mind, of him being beaten. Up until his downfall, Lord Voldemort had a good relationship with Lucius. This is the picture he painted for his son. This is what Draco was told. That is why Draco wanted to be a Death Eater so badly. He was probably more excited than anyone when Voldemort returned. However, things quickly changed the second time round for Lucius, something that he would have never predicted and something that Draco should never have witnessed. Voldemort was more alert this time round. He was more dangerous and vicious than he's ever been. He knows that Harry destroyed the Diary Horcrux, something originally in the possession of Lucius, so he's going to make sure he gets the job done this time. Lucius is on the end of Voldemort's wrath when he not only fails to retrieve the prophecy, but also allows it to smash on his command. He is heavily punished and humiliated more than once in front of his wife and son. Voldemort continues to make an example out of Lucius and drives Lucius to the point where he is a shell of the man he once was, constantly nervous in the Dark Lord's presence, walking on eggshells, as if he could do nothing right. Azkaban didn't help either, and speaking of which, he was only broken out of Azkaban at Snape's request. So Draco is seeing all of this. He's watching everything his father is going through. He's front and centre to witnessing his father's spirit break. He could hardly recognise the man, and this was all because he failed one mission for Voldemort, which made him realise that everyone is only as useful as their last successful assignment for the Dark Lord. He realised that everyone is disposable. So instead of backing down and seeking help to get his family away from such a horrid situation, which I'll admit myself would have been quite difficult to near impossible to do, Draco decides to take control, to step up and restore his family to prominence in the eyes of the Dark Lord. He joins the Death Eaters, even receives his Dark Mark tattoo, and accepts his assignment to assassinate Albus Dumbledore, which will trigger his breaking point later on in the year. He knows that he'll not only suffer the same fate as his father if he fails, but most likely worse. He'll be killed in order to further punish Lucius. Voldemort knows Draco is no match for Dumbledore, wand for wand. He knows that even if the boy succeeds, he'll be hunted for life by the many supporters of the headmaster. Either way, he's condemning the boy. Draco starts to realise he has no way out. He begins to realise that he's being set up, and it takes such an awful toll on his body. How can this be the glorious life his father talked about? How could this man, Lord Voldemort, who was supposed to liberate the wizarding world, be the true leader his father had mentioned? Look at his family. Look at Draco. It's only going to end one way if he continues down this route. When it actually comes down to the moment that matters, Snape steps in and completes the task, but Draco has never known fear like the fear he had when pointing that wand at his headmaster. He hated it. He knew that this wasn't the life for him. He had become so disillusioned with Voldemort that he truly saw no way out. Then come that night in Malfoy Manor. Harry is clearly disfigured from the hex, but anyone who knew him would recognise who he was. Draco is quite clever about it. He knows Ron and Hermione. He knows their face and would be a fool to claim otherwise. However, the horror of serving Voldemort finally hits him. He knows there's something about Harry. He's always known that Harry and the Dark Lord have had this connection. Harry Potter is Draco's only chance of seeing Voldemort destroyed. He twice denies knowing if it's him. It's the only way he could do it. He knows what will happen to Harry and his friends if he does confirm his rival's identity. It's all over. Draco's change of allegiance bought Harry some very valuable time. Enough to escape, as nobody wanted to risk calling the Dark Lord to the scene unless they were certain. Harry in return saved Draco's life in the room of requirement. Narcissa then lied to Voldemort for Harry, showing she was also done with her service to the Dark Lord, and Harry was eventually able to defeat him. There's several moments that could have altered Harry's fate if they had gone differently, and that crucial moment in Malfoy Manor was one of them. In conclusion, I hope that many of you can see that this wasn't just one split-second decision there and then from Draco. It was months of inner torment, months of watching people be tortured and killed, and realising that the life of a Death Eater, the life of serving Voldemort, was nothing but gloom and darkness. All of those emotions poured into Draco's decision that night, and he showed an immense bravery by taking such a stand, albeit incognito. Well everyone, that's my take on why Draco didn't identify Harry Potter at Malfoy Manor. In my opinion, it's one of the greatest moments from the book, as it highlighted Draco's true character, the one that many of us knew he had. Now my question for you is, do you think that moment was a turning point in the war? Or do you believe Harry would have escaped still had Voldemort been called? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much again for watching, have a great day, and please always remember, be happy. Thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever, so please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do, it's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content, so if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at Folklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.